Usually I'm here with haikus of verses. This is quite a bit longer. I just traveled back to Germany because my mother's side of the family were German Jewish refugees. But since I've been involved in Harlem, and African spirituality has been a big part of my life for many years, what you're going to hear is sort of the overlap between the Jewish experience in Nazi Germany and the African experience coming here. Somebody already went that deep, and I know Peace Cafe always goes deep. And this is partly about music, so I appreciate you listening. This journey of return to my European roots, so horrifically interrupted as they were by the Holocaust, really began when I was packing at home in Westchester. As I folded my clothes and put them in my suitcase, I suddenly thought of my German Jewish grandfather, Werner Bloch, folding his clothes and putting them in his suitcase one last time in Germany in 1936, preparing to bring his wife and young daughter, my 3-year-old mother, to New York. I thought of him thinking, am I doing the right thing? It is so far, yet I cannot raise my daughter in fascism, as he said in his diary. I thought of him saying goodbye to his own father, and his father saying goodbye to him, uncertain of his own fate, yet too tired to begin again somewhere else, and too proud of himself to need to, for he knew that his son had turned out just fine, and he had raised a good boy, a fine man, with a lovely family. He would be a blessing wherever he went. When we touched down in Vienna, I enjoyed hearing German again, as my mother had used it from time to time. I looked at my beloved wife across the dinner table, and I knew how my grandfather could begin again anywhere, for he was with his beloved wife, and the world between two beloved ones is bigger and more beautiful and more full of love than even a violent and hateful world outside that circle of love can ever take on or defeat. We went to the opera, and as I sank into my seat, I felt the words come up from deep inside me, "We are back," as perhaps my cultured ancestors were there within me. The antidote to hatred and violence is always beauty. The opera was Elixir of Love by Donizetti. Perhaps we are meant to be an elixir of love for all those around us with small and intense doses. That night, I prepared to go to Theresienstadt at the Czech town of Terezin the next day. My beautiful, accomplished wife had set up our entire visit thanks to the internet. I sat at the hotel bar. I had in my jacket pocket 9 tiny stones from the stream behind my house in Westchester. A friend who follows African religions, Olumide, if anybody knows him, said that 9 is the symbol of completion in Yoruba religion, covering the area where many Africans were taken to be enslaved in America. He said to throw 9 tiny things over my left shoulder when I got to Theresienstadt. Left is the side of the spirit. My friend is an elder to me. This is why I had called for his advice. The 9 tiny stones would say to my great-grandparents that I was there. The stones would bring a piece of America to this piece of Europe, and so say that I had arrived like a bridge in space and time. Washed by the stream, they would bring that freshness to this space of ash and pain. Yet as I sat at the hotel bar, I felt that the circle did not quite feel closed. The journey was incomplete until I took something back from here in Europe, here near Terezin, back to my home in Westchester. What would that be? As I raised a glass of the local apricot brandy, I figured my great-grandfather would let me know at the right time somehow. As I sipped the brandy, I suddenly thought, take a 10th tiny stone back to my home from the place in Theresienstadt where I would leave the other 9. That would be complete. This also confirmed that my great-grandfather probably loved apricot brandy. I better pick some up. The next morning, I got up and got dressed. As I put on my shoes, I thought suddenly of my great-grandfather as he put on his shoes on his last journey to the concentration camp. If he was like my grandfather, he was an elegant, dignified man. Looking dignified would be important to him. No reason to stop now.